You could join us. To begin the ceremony, we will begin with playing the anthems in the following order.
We have every confidence in your abilities to rally the troops and deliver the change that all progressive minds yearn for. So on behalf of Council, you have our support. I call for patience, understanding, and unqualified support from all members of the university and our stakeholders. We have a long road to travel together. Let me conclude by reiterating the words of the Chancellor. Professor Kiama, I pray that wisdom and foresight may be in your stead from this day onwards, that you may act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. Let us now retreat to our stations of work and dedicate our efforts and energies in the spirit of pulling together. Unite in labor. With those few remarks, I want to say asante sana, and may God bless University of Nairobi. May God bless Kenya.
Is in its own class. And this is because it is an excellent institution that unfortunately is being downgraded to other levels. Why do I say so? I say so because the university has excellent infrastructure, which are of international standards. The university has top grade faculty, and therefore, as we change again the leadership of the university, second one after I left. One would say that from the government perspective, we are going to try and ensure that we safeguard University of Nairobi as one of the centers of excellence, and that the concept of all universities being equal do not work anywhere else in the world. Being a public university has not removed the University of Nairobi from that position, because you can see that in terms of research, we have been spearheading research, and I dare say that it's only the University of Nairobi that has broken the ranks and looked for research funds from elsewhere rather than just depending on government. In fact, I am sure that the current Vice Chancellor, perhaps whom we are inaugurating today, may have acquired even much more money than we left at the time, when we left a budget line of 4.5 billion of research money that was syndicated from other sources. Looking back to the current Vice Chancellor, I remember I have known Professor Kiama. I remember at the time I was leaving the university, I had appointed him to be the director of the Wangari Maathai Institute, and we had started working with him to ensure the building of that institute was accomplished, and I'm being advised that it was accomplished. Being a Vice Chancellor is a different ballgame. The most important advice I would want to give him is that the university is made of a professor. So you make sure that the professor is happy and available and is working. That professor is the one who is going to attract students for you. And the professor is also a very difficult person to deal with. So since he's one of them, since Professor Kiama is one of them, he will know how to deal with them. Beyond that, the last thing I want to tell him is always remember teamwork and team spirit. Because in a team, every member of the team is important. including the most difficult one. And you must empower your teammates to work for you. If you attempt to work alone or to exclude certain people, then the team will become dysfunctional. I think the university can only get better, and the challenge I want to give him is to take leadership of the University of Nairobi, which somehow has been lacking among the universities in terms of reforms within the universities. The University of Nairobi should take the leadership and run with it so that the others can follow.
The Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Dr. Fijo Ratansi, the Chair of the University of Nairobi Council, Professor Julia Odhiambo, the former Vice-Chancellors who are here today. I must, of course, recognize Professor Francis John Gishaga, who has mentored a lot of us over time. And of course, Professor Peter Bithi, who was just there before the current Vice-Chancellor. Under advisement, I may now and then remove this piece of cloth covering my mouth so that my glasses are not misting up. Otherwise, I may read strange things, ladies and gentlemen. Professor Kiama has already said a lot about his history, so I will complement, I will supplement, and add on to a lot of what he has said. To start with, Professor Stephen Gitahi is a professor of veterinary anatomy. He was born 56 years ago and is married to Teresa Nugare Kiama, and together they are blessed with 2 children, Gitahi and Wajugu. As a scholar and a leader, Professor Kiama holds an earned doctorate degree in structural biology. His PhD marked a culmination of a long journey, sustained personal illumination driven by an abiding curiosity to broaden horizons of knowledge. As Professor Kiama pursued his scholarly and teaching roles, leadership duties seemed to beckon at every turn. It is in delivering these tasks that he garnered broad hands-on skills, practical knowledge, and fundamental proficiencies in key structural, legislative, and regulatory frameworks crucial to the effective management of institutions of higher learning. In the fullness of time, he has accumulated a vast wealth of administrative experience, honed his skills in management of people and programs for set outputs. He has cut his teeth in leadership and distinguished himself as a capable leader. His progressive rise in leadership roles, where he has served in senior management positions in the University of Nairobi over the past 16 years, speak to this fact. Before his appointment as the 8th Vice-Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Professor Kiama served as the Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of Human Resource and Administration and Acting Vice Chancellor in charge of Finance, Planning and Development. He has also served in several administrative positions in the university, including 1, Principal College of Agriculture and Veterinary Sciences from 2016 to 2019, the February of that year. 2, Acting Dean of the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine in 2014. 3, Founding Director of Wangari Maathai Institute for Peace and Environmental Studies between 2010 and 2016. 4, Chairman of the Department of Vet Anatomy and Physiology 2005 to 2010. And Associate Dean, number 5, of the Faculty of Vet Medicine between 2003 and 2010. Obviously, I had the privilege to appoint him as the Associate Dean while I served as the Vice Chancellor in 2003. He has served as a member of the University of Nairobi Senate since 2003, thereby gaining vast experience in directing and supervising academic programs. In addition, he has exhibited remarkable gift in people management, eye for detail, and possesses exemplary skills in financial management, networking, fundraising, and resource mobilization. It is for this reason that Professor Kiama was appointed a juror for Wangari Maathai Institute campus and University of Nairobi Tower Design competitions, respectively. Golden Climate Awards organized by Light Academy and the Wangari Maathai Scholarship Award. Professor Kiama started his scholarly academic sojourn in 1972. He has told us at Gatoke Primary School. He set for the Certificate of Primary Education, CPE, in 1978, and was admitted to Kenyatta High School, Mahiga, where he set for the Kenya Certificate of Education in 1982. Again, as he told us earlier, he was admitted to Nakuru High School, where he seemed to enjoy wearing trousers for his Kenya certificates of education A-levels. After successfully completing A-levels, Professor Kiama was admitted to the University of Nairobi for bachelor's degree in vet medicine, graduating in 1990. Upon graduation, Professor Kiama joined the faculty of University of Nairobi as an assistant lecturer in the Department of Vet Anatomy. Since then, he has risen through the ranks to position of lecturer 1995, senior lecturer 2002, associate professor 2012, and full professor 2016. Instructively, Professor Kiama has steadfastly scaled the ladder of scholarship from the very bottom to the pinnacle of academia as a full professor. He earned his doctorate, Doctor of Philosophy degree in structural biology from University of Bern in Switzerland in 2001, under the able tutelage of Professor Emeritus Peter Garr. His PhD thesis that was titled, and I quote, "Functional and Morphological Characterization of Particle Dendritic Cell Interaction," close the quote, was called as very good. Previously, he had pursued his master in vet anatomy under the supervision of Professor J.N. Minor, a renowned avian morphologist, and Professor Josabata Bataje. His master's thesis was entitled, I quote, "Morphology and Morphometry of the Pecten oculi, a comparative study." By his own admission, Professor Kiama was fascinated by animal anatomy from a very tender age. In his adolescence, the death and burial of a farm animal from unknown causes was a fodder for his curiosity and experimentation. If bones could talk, I'm told they do not, they would tell the story of a young Kiama who, upon decomposition of the carcass, would dig them up and rebuild their skeleton. In fact, at some point in high school, Kiama had assembled the full skeleton of a cow and kept it in his thingira. Who does that? Maybe only Professor Kiama. Kiama would never have known that this seemingly innocent preoccupation with animal life was preparing ground for a career in biology and thereafter veterinary anatomy. Years later, Professor Kiama's elder sister would serve as an animal health assistant. This further fueled the fire of his career interest. His greatest inspiration to venture into the vet field, however, was one Dr. Sira, a veterinarian from his home area who struck youthful Kiama as oozing in youthful exuberance and sophistication. Unlike in human medicine where patients went to the doctor, Dr. Sira would be the one visiting homesteads, attending to animals in ill health. Impressionable Kiama would be persuaded that this was the ideal way to work, rendering professional services in situ. That could explain why Professor Kiama was so swift in asking students, staff, and faculty of the University of Nairobi to operate from home as soon as COVID-19 was declared a global pandemic. And indeed, we all did. Teaching and student supervision. Professor Kiama is an astute pedagogue with a natural penchant for excellence. Professor Kiama has a solid and discerning commitment to the mentorship of undergraduate and postgraduate students as well as a member of the faculty he worked with. As a result of this, he has a commendable list of academic prodigies. To date, he has successfully supervised and mentored 12 PhD and 14 master students to completion. He is an accomplished scholar with a solid and proven track record in formulating and managing academic programs. His distinguished input in academic discourse, research, and publication does speak for itself. research publications, and visiting professorships. Professor Kiama has done an viable track record in academic research and publication. This is demonstrated in his contribution to several publications that he authored or co-authored with peer-reviewed journals. To date, Professor Kiama has co-authored over 150 journal and conference publications. The papers have been published in prestigious and high-impact factor journals such as Nature, Nature Communications, Journal of Leukocyte Biology, Immunology and Cell Biology, American Journal of Pathology, American Journal of Respiratory, Cell and Molecular Biology, and Journal of Ethnopharmacology. His scholarly contributions are widely cited by peers in 2,237 Google Scholar citations, 23 high index, and 36 I-10 index citations, respectively. Those who don't appreciate that, it just means incredibly good work. Besides authoring several publications and attending national and international scientific conferences, Professor Kiama has cumulative research and teaching experience of 30 years gained at various institutions, including this university, the University of Nairobi, St. Andrews University in Scotland, Free University in Berlin, Germany, University of Bern in Switzerland, University of Witwatersrand, South Africa, and University of Ghana. Working with his contemporaries, Professor Kiama successfully secured research funding from, among others, the Dean's Committee Research Fund of this university, the German Academic Program, DRRD or DAD, the British Council, Swiss National Science Foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Carnegie Foundation of New York, National Research Foundation of South Africa, and National Foundation, Science Foundation of the United States of America, inter alia. Regionally, Professor Kiama served as the node coordinator of the African Natural Product Training Network, RICE AFNET, involving 3 universities from East Africa, Makerere in Uganda, Sokoine in Tanzania, and of course, the University of Nairobi in this great country. A network formed upon competitive funding award from the Carnegie Corporation of New York through SIG RICE. Through this program, he provided scholarships to 8 PhD and 8 MSc graduates. Most of the beneficiaries and graduates of this scholarship have been absorbed in academia, including absorption in this university. Leadership and higher education sector. Professor Kiama possesses a unique aptitude that enables him to maintain a vibrant research career as well as an excellent record of visionary leadership whose manifest success is in various leadership positions he has held in the university. His proficiency at attracting and maintaining networks within and between local and international universities, keen on cross-fertilization of ideas and experiences across institutions, has been impactful as it has been momentous. The above qualities, far beyond the realms of the University of Nairobi and within the higher education sector, carry considerable weight. In 2019, Professor Kiama was elected the chairman of deans and principals of Regional Universities Forum for Capacity Building in Agriculture, simply just referred to as RU Forum, which is a consortium of 114 universities in 38 countries in Africa, whose mission is strengthening the capacities of universities to foster innovations responsive to the needs of smallholder farmers. The University of Nairobi is a founder member of this organization since 2004, when I was the Vice Chancellor of the university. Vision carrier for the Wangari Maathai Institute for Peace and Developmental Studies. Professor Kiama played a key role, in fact, I should say a major role, in conceptualizing and actualizing the Wangari Maathai Institute for Peace and Environmental Studies during his tenure as the founding director. During the same period, he was Associate Dean of the Faculty of Vet Medicine and also Chairman of the Department of Vet Anatomy and Physiology. From August 2008, the late Professor Wangari Maathai, 2004 Nobel Peace Laureate, and in whose honor the Institute is named, spent many hours with Professor Kiama sharing her vision of the Institute. Unfortunately, she passed on in 2011. May the Almighty bless her soul, barely 2 years after the University of Nairobi Council approved the establishment of the Institute. By then, thankfully, Professor Kiama was well equipped to carry her vision to fruition, a role which he performed with the remarkable enthusiasm. I should actually add happiness. Further, he led in the formulation of the Institute syllabi in Master of Science in Environmental Governance, Doctor of Philosophy in Environmental Governance and Management, Master of Science in Natural Products and Bioprospecting, and Master of Science in Cell Biology and Anatomy. As the first director of the Institute, Professor Kiama provided leadership in forging links and collaborations. He guided the Institute's physical design, spending countless hours with the architects and engineers in efforts to reduce the design concept on paper before the development of the scheme drawings. Once again, I had the privilege to work very closely with Professor Kiama during this period, as I led the government team that was negotiating the funding of the Institute from the African Development Bank. And that bank gave to the government of Kenya to pass forward to the University of Nairobi slightly under $1 billion Kenya shillings to support the Wangari Maathai Institute. In the larger scheme of things, I should have said by then, I was the permanent secretary for higher science and technology in this country. In the larger scheme of things, as the progressive head of the department, institute, and college, he was responsible for overseeing all the attendant academic programs. Delivery of the institute benefited from Professor Kiama's dedication and fortitude, and drew from organization and planning expertise, as well as institute networking with stakeholders drawn from the academia, government institutions, non-governmental institutions. Indeed, the inaugural strategic plan continues to guide the Institute in its desired and projected growth path to date. As I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, you have seen the incredible contribution to not only the University of Nairobi, but to the world of academia and indeed world of management in higher education. You have seen what incredible things that Professor Kiama has undertaken. I hope you join me in congratulating him for this inauguration as the 8th Vice-Chancellor of this great university. I hope you greet me too in praying to the Almighty, something akin to the prayer of Jabez, that God accords him what he prays for. And he prayed to be the Vice-Chancellor of this university, and the kind God has accordingly given it to him. We pray he continues to bless him, as has been said by both the Chancellor and the Chair of the Council. We pray the good Lord continues to expand his territory. And as he does that, in turn, this great university for which he is blessed to be the 8th Vice-Chancellor. Professor Stephen Gitahi, as you start sitting on that chair, I can assure you there won't be a lot of time to sit, a lot of time to walk, maybe even to run. We wish you the very best and every God's blessing as you perform that job. Mungu akubariki, pia abariki Kenya yetu na university yetu. Thank you very much.
The Chair of the Council, Professor Julia Onjiambo, the Council members, the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Stephen Gitahi, who is actually the initiate for this ceremony, and that's the focus in the private sector and non-governmental world, our students, distinguished guests, and all other stakeholders. Rather than talk, but before I do that, I want to indicate, to say something about the university culture. Omondi, please.
Receive the Constitution of Kenya 2010, upon which you make your oath of office as the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Nairobi.
Members, as the Vice-Chancellor receives
2018, which has the oversight role over management and quality provision of university education in Kenya.
The Universities Act of
za uongozi kama
Ladies
naibu
and
wa
gentlemen,
chancellor.
I now have the pleasure to present to you the 8th Vice-Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Professor Stephen Gitahi.
There we go once again, acknowledging that the ceremony is finally official. Professor Stephen Kiama is now inaugurated and installed as the official Vice-Chancellor of the University of Nairobi. Congratulations, congratulations. Hongera sana.
Naam, tunamwongera na atakuwa anapata
Thank you very
fursa
much.
ya
The
kutoa
new
hotuba.
God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit keep you well and minister to you from now and
I salute you all this morning. Dr. Fiju Ratanzi, the Chancellor, University of Nairobi, Professor Juri Ojiambo, Chair of the University of Nairobi Council, Council members here present today, university staff, other students, friends of University of Nairobi, my family members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Madam Chancellor, thank you for graciously presiding over my installation as the 8th Vice Chancellor of this university. Thank you also for wishing me well in the journey I have begun to embark on. I confirm with humility that I solemnly and respectfully accept the honor to serve my country in this position. To all of you, I'm humbly honored by your presence this morning, albeit most of you virtually. What a privilege it is to commune with family, friends, colleagues, students, government representatives, and well-wishers in today's ceremony. I do not take it for granted that you have spared your precious time to join us in ushering in a new dispensation heralding restored hope and renewed expectations. I wish, in a special way, to pay tribute to my wife, Teresa. Teresa, you have always supported me in prayers. Always held fort and kept the family afloat. You have fervently kept faith and always wished me well. You have made home a place to unwind in the midst of the noise and haste of this world. You are really a pillar of strength, and I cherish your companionship. To Gitahi and Wajogo, you have had obviously to contend with many days of my absence. To my parents, the late Mzee Gitahi Kafoa and Mama Teresa Wajogo, thank you for all your sacrifices. I'm a little emotional, so I will continue slowly and then I pick up. Yeah. I'll definitely pick up very well at my father spent some years in detention in the liberation struggle. I have no doubt that if he is alive today, he'll be very, very happy. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to skip that. It's a little heavy on me. I'm grateful to my friend and mentor, Professor Peter Gea. Interacting with him in the course of my PhD studies in Switzerland, I got a new appreciation of life. I learned to listen keenly, deeply, and patiently, and to tolerate, respect, divergent opinion and stands. Beyond ensuring that I received the best exposure in my training, Professor Gea opened his home, and I enjoyed his enlightening company. To all who trusted me to serve in different leadership positions, to my students who gave me the opportunity to mold and mentor them, to those who quietly whispered a prayer for me and wished me well, to my nursery school teacher, Mama Eunice, who by teaching me how to read and write, opened the world to me, to those who awarded me scholarships to study here and abroad, I say thank you. May the Lord continue to bless you and to expand your bounties. To my 7 predecessors, I salute you. In the larger schemes of things, your individual and collective contribution have made the fruits that we enjoy today. I particularly wish to thank Professor Crispus Kiamba, who, despite my young age, had faith in me to appoint me as Associate Dean and Acting Dean of the faculty. Professor, I hope I have not let you down. My role of gratitude also goes to our Chancellor, Professor Dr. Vijora Tansi, Minister of Education, the Public Service Commission, and the Council for finding me worthy of this appointment. You can count on me to stay truthful to the values and tradition of this institution. As I reflect my life and the many ups and downs encountered along the way, I'm reminded that whenever the going got tough, great men and women that I associated with stepped up, and together we surmounted the obstacles. With your collective support, no obstacle will be too high to surmount, no barrier too big to overcome, no burden too heavy to bear, and no storm too strong to withstand. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not possible to share all the ideas that I have from this pedestal I have been afforded today. Allow me, therefore, to share just a snippet of my considered thoughts on the paths we need to embark on to advance the University of Nairobi onto the trajectory to excellence. In 2016, the Chancellor recommended a visitation of the university. The visitation, in its wisdom, observed that one of the constraints impeding institutional planning and management for productivity, efficiency, and resources at the university was the absence of a coordinated university-wide data management and access system. We therefore need to invest our energies and resources towards setting up a comprehensive and integrated data management system that will entail re-engineering our business processes and embedding the use of technology in the curriculum, content delivery, human resource management, financial management, student management, including the administration of examinations, research grants management, timetabling, to name but a few. Data will change how decisions are made, optimize deployment of resources, and improve overall systemic output. In the competitive environment that we find ourselves in, leveraging verifiable data to lower decision turnaround time, to seize time-sensitive opportunities, and to make better predictions to outsmart competition cannot be gainsaid. Secondly, the university has over the years grown in size and complexity. To stay in step with the needs of the university, I believe that there is compelling need to refresh our management, administrative, oversight, and governance structures. This will entail elimination of redundant and overlapping systems, processes, structures, and reporting centers in the building of top-bottom flow of power, resources, responsibility, and accountability to the lowest levels, and the institutionalization of efficient decision and policy making and the implementation at every level. At least you heard the CS also referring to this matter. Thirdly, we need to embark on the path of fit-for-purpose training. We need to look at our university course offering and assess the level to which they respond to market, industries, societal, and environmental needs, as well as to weed out redundant and overlapping courses and programs. Additionally, we should interrogate the depth of substance coverage insofar as delivery of curricula and inculcation of practical skills are concerned. Integrate industry in our teaching and research. Review our research exploits to encourage vertical progression in the pursuit of new knowledge. Standardize and laterally integrate our curricula and integrate entrepreneurial spirit and culture throughout our programs. Lastly, we need to recalibrate our metrics of world-class talent to make deliberate effort toward internationalization. The three proposed interventions go hand in hand with the financial reforms. These reforms are geared toward institutionalizing prudent financial management and controls, efficient and participatory budget formulation mechanisms, fiscal and budgetary discipline, efficient payment and receipts management and banking services, and the systems to check revenue leakage, optimal utilization of resources, cross-cutting reduction of wastage, and a review of financial viability of income-generating activities in the university. It should go further to include reform of procurement functions to maximize efficiency, increase transparency and accountability, and deliver value for money. An efficient and optimal internal financial ecosystem will allow the university to move with confidence towards scaling external resource mobilization with a high level of confidence that any cent received, at the very least, will lead a 100% value for money. The net effect of these measures is an increased university value proposition, making us the destination of choice for both local and international students, scholars, innovators, and industry, and the preferred knowledge partner for government as regard ideas, solutions, consultants, and policy directions are the critique. Ladies and gentlemen, in the last few weeks, I've been asked how I will fix the financial shortfall. To answer this, we ought to view the university as the sum of her systems and processes. In my view, we should internally take a three-step approach. Fix the leaking ship. because if we don't, we drone. Trim our coat according to our size. And finally, grow the top line. With efficient systems, structures, processes, curriculum, and financial systems, we will eradicate internal wastage that achieves optimal resource utilization, attract quality students to our classrooms, and draw the best mind across the globe. Assuredly, the savings made will purposefully offset the deficit until such a time that we break even and bring financial sustainability close to reality. Externally, we implore the government, as the sponsor of public education in Kenya, to deliberately channel more resources into our universities. And I'm glad today we have the CAS for Education, Mr. Sak Kenodia. Before I conclude, permit me some latitude to briefly take off my cap as head of administration and speak as a professor and the academic head of this university. By and within law, members of academic staff are accorded freedom in their teaching, research, and any other endeavor to question and to receive wisdom, to put forth new ideas, and to state opinions. The question that begs all of us and begs me is this: have all our members of staff exercised this freedom for the benefit of the country? The answer to this question may in some way explain the situation we find ourselves in as a country. Allow me to tell a story to illustrate what, in my view, is the prevailing situation. A scientist placed 5 monkeys in a cage. In the middle of the cage, and far beyond the reach of the monkeys, he placed a lander with a bunch of bananas at the top. That for the monkeys to reach the bananas, they have to go up the lander. Every time a monkey went up the lander, the scientist soaked it with cold water. Those that did not join this adventure also received a similar punishment, those which were also in the same cage. After a while, the temptation of the bananas was too great, and another monkey began to climb the ladder. Again, the scientist soaked that monkey with cold water alongside the rest of the monkeys with cold water. Soon, every time a monkey went up the ladder, all the others beat it up. After some time, no monkey dared to go up the ladder, notwithstanding the temptation of the bananas. Thereafter, the scientist decided to substitute one of the monkeys. The first thing the new monkey did was to go up the ladder to get the bananas. Immediately, the other monkeys which were on the cage beat it up. After several beatings, the new member learned not to climb the ladder, even though he never knew why. So because the other monkeys which were on the ladder beat it up, although this time there was no pouring of cold water to any monkey. The monkey participated in the beating of the second monkey. A third monkey was changed, and the same beating was repeated by the all monkeys, including the one that joined, without knowing why this monkey is being beaten. The fourth was substituted, and the beating was repeated. And finally, the fifth monkey was replaced. What was left with a group of 5 monkeys that, much as they were never subjected to a cold shower or any beating, continued to beat up any monkey who attempted to climb the ladder. If it were possible to ask the monkeys why they beat up all those who attempted to go up the ladder, perhaps the answer would be, I don't know. But that's how things are done here. We don't eat those monkeys, eat those bananas, even when we are hungry. Why? We don't know why. But this is how we live here. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a society where those who dare question why and why not are running out of space to call home. Like the monkeys in this story, we are increasingly breeding men and women of great uniformity, lacking in moral spine to question why things are done the way they are done here. The true purpose of education is to replace this kind of doing things with an open one of innovation, of necessity. We must regain this foothold in our universities and create an environment that fosters intellectual curiosity, one that nurtures the ability to question and test received wisdom in search for truth, and one that accommodates divergent views. Together, we can create a world that does not condemn independent and free thinkers to the very bottom of the food chain, just because they hold the view contrary to ours, contrary to how we do the things here. Together, we can create a university that accommodates outliers. This would be the right environment for creating and fostering new knowledge, and with it, solutions to human afflictions. We have seen the reactions even with COVID. There are those who want to behave just like it has been before. Even when we are talking about teaching and learning and the examination, there are those who are saying, this is not how we do things here. Here we do them differently. So I keep on asking them, here when? We have COVID now. When is it ending? Wacha tugoje ishe. Because they want to be frozen to the past, how we do things here. The university is an environment of innovation and coming with new ways of doing things, new approaches. And we must always feel that anytime we feel we are very comfortable, then we know that something is wrong. We must, at any one time, innovate and come with new ways of doing things, not the way we do it here. In recent times, infringement on and even attempt to steal academic freedom and functional autonomy of universities through extra registration and the executive overreach have come to the fore. I'm, however, happy to note that the session paper number 1 of 2019 stipulates that government long-term policy is to provide a framework for a sustainable, competitive, and autonomous national university system. It is my humble plea that all concerned parties will act in a manner that best fortifies the twin principles of functional autonomy and academic freedom enshrined in our laws. Finally, as we roll up our sleeves and get to work, I'm conscious of the huge burden of responsibility weighing heavily on my shoulders. I, Stephen Gitahi, am neither a miracle worker nor one that possesses the monopoly of knowledge. I'm neither a magician nor one that can break God. I'm just the leader of the band. I promise to serve with honesty, diligence, and humility. I promise to be firm and fair, to lend a listening ear to you and to your concerns, and to as much as is humanly possible, to make decisions grounded on the law. In return, I appeal to you and the students to make every effort to recalibrate our collective culture and attitudes towards teamwork, upholding discipline and integrity, commitment to duty and scholarship, efficiency and excellence. With your support, at the dedication of time and energies in honest service to this university, we are set to reach the promised land and build an enduring legacy of academic excellence. In faith, we reclaim our glory and build our academic edifice that will inspire fresh hope and push the frontiers of university education locally, regionally, and internationally. If you allow, the University of Nairobi is sailing a new tide. And talking of times and their curious ways, Shakespeare couldn't have put it better when he said, "There is a tide in the affairs of men, which taken at the flood leads on the fortune. Omitted, all the voyage of their life is bowed in shallows and in miseries. On such a full sea are we now afloat, and we must take the current when it serves, or lose our ventures. Together, I am confident we can seize the tide and secure our ventures. Let us now retreat to our stations of work and dedicate our efforts and energies in the spirit of pulling together, unitate et labore, unite in labor. May God give us grace to serve. Thank you, and God bless you all.